Oh, this one's guaranteed to work out for everybody involved, right? Of course, man. Star Wars' biggest problem. Okay, even as a casual Star Wars enjoyer, like I've said multiple times whenever we talk about this subject, I've seen the prequels, I've seen the OT, haven't checked out any of Disney stuff, haven't watched anything that they've produced firsthand. I've watched several reviews in order to get myself apprised of the current situation, of course, so I'm not totally blind on this stuff. But no, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I don't even have any Star Wars merchandise, but I do recognize what the OT brought to the table, how it revolutionized the blockbuster genre, okay? Took science fiction from being a campy soundstage, fishing lure and painted globes camp fest to being, the biggest cinematic franchise of all time. I recognize the greatness that is on display, and Empire, well, it's a very, very, very good film, okay? I know I'm not breaking any ground on that one. And the prequels, I was a kid during those times, okay? When The Phantom Menace came out, I was 9. It was right during the heyday. I remember how hot that franchise was during that time, and yeah, of course, being, I would have been 25, so I would have been prime for the sequel trilogy coming out as well, a big action franchise with the biggest name in action direction out there, J.J. Abrams at the helm with all of his lens flares and explosions that don't necessarily make sense, but hey, Star Wars has always been a bit goofy, so he's the perfect fit for that. But yeah, during TFA, well, shit, you can go and check the box office receipts. It made over $2 billion. It was a hit, but then after that, everything fell precipitously off a cliff in seemingly record time. But let's look at that stuff, okay? Because now with a 2024 retrospective lens on, you can see all of these pitfalls really manifest in TFA. You don't even have to go to TLJ for that one. No. Just take a look at really how poorly Han Solo was treated in TFA. How many mystery box wrappings JJ set up for lesser minds to go ahead and try and fill, including himself. And I can point to several big problems for Star Wars, care of the Disney regime. But I will never, ever at all come to the conclusion that so many in the industry, and then also in the puff piece industry, in the media rag industry, go ahead and do Star Wars' biggest problem. It's not writing, it's not characters, it's not bastardization of the lore. It is simply the fans, and leave it up to some of the biggest simps around, Collider, to go ahead and pen this atrocious article. And she's a long boy, by the way, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and read a little bit of it, because the first paragraph, well, brother, it's a bit of a doozy. The internet has never made it easy for people to speak their minds. I mean, you already know what you're in for when you understand how absolutely absurd that opening statement is. Yeah, the internet has never made it easy for people to speak their minds. I mean, don't most of these rags deride social media for allowing people to voice their uneducated opinions? Isn't that normally what they're trotting out there as an argument? But okay. Convenience of digital connection aside. Oh, okay, cool. So, internet aside, the internet is a problem. What? There have always been online trolls and toxic comments ready to pounce on anyone who dares to bear their authentic self in public life, and the newest round of controversies and unfounded criticism directed at Star Wars projects demonstrates that the beloved sci-fi franchise is no different. There's a lot of accusations in that statement right there. Unfounded criticism? Well, okay, cool. If it's unfounded, can't you just simply brush that off, brush that away? Because if it's unfounded, it has no merit, therefore it is just as useless as a drive-by commenter going fake and gay. It's like, oh, okay, cool. But, I can see you working in a bunch of other stuff with authentic self and public nebulous controversies. Oh, we've seen this playbook before for decades. Yeah, right, decades. Viewers have been relentlessly attacking Star Wars performers and creators. Oh, that old lie. Fantastic. And it's so nice that we have, except for Fabian Frankel, okay? It's so nice to have this current and applicable comparison out there right now. The actor for Sir Criston Cole in House of the Dragon, okay, did a video, and so many other people have as well, pointing out that, yeah, there are people right now, leading to him having to shut down his comments on Instagram posts, which is absolutely absurd, because he's knocking it out of the park with his depiction of the character on the show. But people are attacking him as if he were the character. And by people, I mean women, because, well, just call a spade here. Who's ruining Star Wars? Okay. Who are the ones that are actually doing this dumb stuff? on a consistent basis, throwing themselves way too deep into these franchises, even for those people that go ahead and self-identify as Jedis, say that that's their religion, still break out the Laserdisc versions of the OT once a week to just go ahead and pass the time. None of them are attacking the performers and creators. What are you talking about there? Okay, because yeah, also in recent time we've had other debunking of the fans bullied Jake Lloyd out of the industry, and then he had his mom come out and go, no man, he's actually just kind of suffering from completely separate mental problems, and yeah, there was actually nothing wrong with any of the Star Wars fans. People loved him and congratulated him for being a part of the franchise. Okay, but what about Kelly Marie Tran in the Last Jedi? She received so many racist and bigoted comments that we've never seen at all whatsoever. Oh, okay, cool. Or Moses Ingram, who played Reva in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. She received some comments like, "You're a diversity hire." Oh no, that's as bad as it got. Nobody even dropped a nuclear N-bomb or anything like that that she couldn't reference. Very hateful. Very hateful. Not purposely selected. Okay, definitely not anything like that at all whatsoever. But yeah, actual criticism. Okay, what about Ahmed Best? Ahmed Best, he was the voice and the actor for Jar Jar Binks during The Phantom Menace. Okay, he's talked about the different criticism that he received for his portrayal of Jar Jar Binks. And who was responsible for that criticism? Oh right, that was the media. Not the fans, who have always been supportive of, okay, cool. You don't want to point to that, though. You just simply want to go ahead and apply this nebulous blanket statement that everybody from the toxic side of the Star Wars fandom are just out there attacking performers and creatives with baseless and unfounded criticism. Yeah, the only time that you hear creatives attacked, like even George Lucas for his lackadaisical dialogue during the prequels, okay, for his need to, inject fuzzy, cute creatures to try to track the child market, okay, even going back to Ewoks and stuff like that, okay, and his constant tinkering. Are those baseless accusations, or is that pointing to something that they did as opposed to pointing at them and making it personal? Just wondering if we can get clarification on that. No? Okay, but the renewed push against TV shows like The Acolyte, well, if you look at the founded criticism on that, there's a lot to criticize, and so many people have, myself included, in regards to The Acolyte. So I'm off to a strong start with this article here, demonstrating the venom with which a particular set of audience members scrutinize everyone's favorite galaxy. The vitriol of those persistent voices have subsequently spread throughout the internet. Oh no, but I thought the internet has never made it easy for people to speak their minds, but now it has spread through the internet? Weird, making it feel like impossible to say anything positive about Star Wars without turning every discussion into a heated debate. Oh no, my bad ideas are getting challenged. There's all those bigots and hateful idiots that are online that are criticizing me. I don't like it. But yeah, the unacceptable abuse of Star Wars prequel era actors like Ahmed Best. Again, I debunked that a little bit earlier, but don't worry about it. Received from fans in the late 90s and early 2000s. No, it was the critic class, but I appreciate your lying. And since then, negative Star Wars voices have only been amplified by the mainstream spread of social media. So you're already contradicting your premise. Cool. Leslye Headland's groundbreaking series. It's groundbreaking, all right. If we're talking about the ratings, it has definitely broke through the ground. Has been relentlessly review bombed online. I agree with that one. The critics have review bombed this out the wazoo. There's no way anybody in the world would think that this is an 8 or a 9 show. Like, just stop it. Causing The Acolyte to possess a huge disparity between its positive critical reception and abysmal audience score on aggregate websites like Rotten Tomatoes. I don't remember the last time that I actually looked at any aggregator for anything in order to inform my opinion of a certain piece of media. Like, for as much as I reference whenever we're talking video games, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I think that that's the greatest game that I've played in a very, very, very long time, perhaps ever. It just so happens that on Metacritic it is loved by the audience and the critics. But I don't love it because it has a 9.2, 9.3 on these aggregate review sites. I love it for what it is. Same thing when it comes to music. Like, my taste, power metal, heavy metal, type of stuff is contingent on the quality of the work. Give a shit what Blabbermouth or Metal Sucks has to say about a review of Judas Priest's Firepower. That's a top 3 Priest album if I've ever heard one. No, these people, man, they just cannot have a unique idea without being led around by the nose with appeals to authority. That's all this is exposing right here. Oh, look at that. Okay, you and my friends think that this is really cool and other people don't. Therefore, you guys, they're just not mistaken, okay? Because that would go ahead and afford some sort of leeway. No, you're wrong, you're evil, you're malicious. It's like, oh, okay, cool. That's a winning tactic if I've ever seen one before. But yeah, instead of looking in the mirror and saying, hey, are we seeing something else? Maybe are we disconnected from other people? If there is such a disparity, no, they're living out the Principal Skinner meme of, aha, no, everybody else is wrong. We're the right ones. We could continue to go through this article, and like I said, she's a long boy. I haven't even scrolled through half of it at this point in time. But I do like that Park Place pointing out and aggregating the hotter takes. Obviously, I'll link through both of these articles if you're so inclined to read and commit yourself to a little bit of brain damage. Feel free. It's Independence Day long weekend, okay? If you got some spare time, go for it, man. But Canadian-owned, why is it always the Canadians, man? Publication Collider spews racist hate and blames white male Star Wars fans for Lucasfilm's crappy TV shows like The Acolyte. Well, yeah, of course, it's Star Wars fans. And who are Star Wars fans? Yeah, it's unfortunate that they have to reconcile the people that made this franchise as big as it is are those dastardly white males that they want to go ahead and replace with who exactly? When has it ever worked before when you try to replace your audience? Oh, right, never. Collider, an online website owned by Canadian corporation Valnet, that runs other left-wing entertainment websites such as MovieWeb, Screen Rant, and CBR. I didn't actually know that. That's interesting. Published an article blaming Star Wars fans for Lucasfilms creating crappy television shows like The Acolyte. The article titled Star Wars' Biggest Problems is the Fans, written by Cameron Barnett, dismisses legitimate criticisms of the show like The Acolyte. Barnett writes, Leslye Headland's groundbreaking series has been relentlessly review bombed online. Yeah, we read through that part. Since the majority of these hate-filled criticisms, they could be legitimate, but no, they're all hate-filled. Shut up. Are either overreactions to alleged continuity errors. Yeah, like, Ki-Adi-Mundi being alive, but no, continuity errors, right? It's just simply there was more liquid in that cup in that shot as opposed to the next one. It's like that's just simple. You're just nitpicking. As opposed to Amanda Stenberg playing both Osha and May completely and totally indistinct of one another, and that the rest of the characters just phone in their performances, and that the plot is going absolutely nowhere. No, it's just continuity errors. Within the Star Wars universe, there are backlash aimed at attacking the show's long overdue there it is, right there. Long overdue inclusivity. The bad actors spreading them are clearly spinning controversies out of nothing. Look in the fucking mirror, bitch. Bad actors spreading them are clearly spinning controversies out of nothing. When Star Wars was at its peak, when it was really cooking during the OT and during the prequels, anybody bitching and complaining saying, hey guys, you know what we really need here? More black people. You know what we really need? More green people with lightsaber whips. No. Now that the franchise is in the dumps, now you have those bad actors coming out with their own ideological talking points. Very interesting. And the manufactured outrage can be directly traced back to the demographics of the original trilogy. Yes, exactly, because it's only manufactured outrage with these perceived and alleged continuity errors. It's not, systematic breakdowns of the plot and the characters and their flip-flopping motivations. Or how this breaks, especially when it comes to space travel, time and space relativity. No. That's just all, you're just being semantic and being pedantic. Shut up. There's nothing wrong with pointing out that the Acolyte, Lucasfilm, and the Walt Disney Corporation are promoting inclusivity. In fact, it is just and right, given inclusivity is an evil ideology that prioritizes demonizing white men. Well, I mean, at this point in time, is there any argument against that being the underlying cause, being the underlying purpose of pushing diversity, inclusion, and equality? Like, when is it ever searched for having accurate representation, as opposed to, we need 50% women here, we need 50% minorities here, we need 50, that has never existed before in anything. Because if you actually wanted accurate representation in Star Wars, if you wanted it to reflect your fan base, it wouldn't look very diverse after all. The show also introduced, yes, a Force replacement called The Thread, which, yeah, we're maybe going to get some insight in episodes 7 and 8. No, or it's never going to be talked about again. Like Ki-Adi-Mundi. Nah, don't worry about that. From then, Barnett makes it abundantly clear that the demographics of the original trilogy are white men. Barnett pens, in the first film, the original trilogy, originally titled Star Wars. Oh, thanks, I didn't know that. Did you also know in 1977 there was a stormtrooper that knocked his head, and therefore Star Wars has always been goofy? Was shown to the public during a decade of classic hits like, yes, Jaws and Rocky. Yeah, okay. I think Rocky's the best sports film ever made, and Jaws, well, it created the blockbuster. So, what else came out during those times? The Godfather Parts 1 and 2. So, but that's all right. She was probably born in the 2000s and doesn't realize anything happened before her. This was the time when Hollywood relied almost exclusively on traditional tropes to tell stories exclusively through a Eurocentric white male lens. And the first reference you have is Steven Spielberg's Jaws. Very interesting. But no, you also, reference Jaws, Rocky, and Star Wars. Like, greatest films of all time type shit. No, you're just trying to hand wave that away by saying Eurocentric white male lens. I wish your original premise of your article was accurate, that the internet could not give voice to lesser opinions. I really wish that was true. Barnett does not stop there. Oh no, of course not. Despite taking place in a galaxy far, far away from the filmmaking conventions of Earth, Star Wars original trilogy features a mostly white cast, female characters with largely unrealized potential. I'm sorry, what? And no gay storylines depicted on screen. Oh, heaven forbid my own personal trappings aren't represented in some of the greatest films of all time. Heaven forbid. I don't see the shit that constantly poisons modern filmmaking up there. Mostly white cast. Yeah, I know. Like, you had Mark Hamill, Baca, R2-D2, C-3PO. Oh, who voiced Darth Vader? Oh, right. And female characters with the last two don't even make sense. So I'm not even going to accept your premise to begin with. Female characters with largely unrealized potential. You understand that Princess Leia is like one of the most recognized characters in cinematic history. Okay, but whatever. If it's not clear by now, the entire piece was written purely based on Barnett's evil ideology. Of course, Barnett follows 3 laws of social justice warriors as defined by Vox Day. Okay, yeah. SJWs always lie, always double down, and always project. Well, I mean, we kind of seen that, and I pointed that out in the first paragraph, but then she goes a little bit further. While powerful female leaders like Mon Mothma and Carrie Fisher's iconic Princess Leia are outspoken forces for good in the trilogy, the later's relationship with the Force and her father is glossed over in favor of the main character and Leia's infamous bikini scene that Carrie Fisher wanted at a Jabba's palace in Star Wars Return of the Jedi. At least she got the movie right. Feels like fodder for a generation of male fantasies. See, you can't actually point to anything concrete, so that's why these freaks always go, well, it feels like, because feelings can't be wrong, and if you criticize feelings, well, you're just a bigot, sexist, homophobe, and you're one of those toxic, bigoted fans. Yeah, interesting. The narrative quality of Disney's sequel trilogy aside, the movie's progressive decision to hire Daisy Ridley as Rey and John Boyega as Finn marked important first in the franchise's leads. Yeah, having a female main character, that was super progressive, and it wasn't so much that everybody was looking forward to the story of Finn being like, ooh, an ex-stormtrooper breaking out of brainwashing. Well, that'd be pretty Oh, wait, they did nothing with him, and in fact, they removed his visage from Chinese posters. Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, very, very important firsts. These casting decisions also resulted in constant online harassment for both actors. Well, Daisy Ridley can't act, and it's just very funny to point out that she has a gaping maw every time that the camera is on her. And Finn, well, his only lasting legacy for Star Wars is going right in every scene. So nobody's attacking the actors, you idiot. Just attacking the people that wrote this crap and going, you did a disservice to these people. Yeah, with many detractors trying to drag Star Wars back to a less inclusive past. Yeah, trying to drag it back to when the films were popular, when the shows were actually somewhat sensical, back during a time where you didn't have these freaks trying to prop up bad decision making and bad decision makers. Yo, man, you take this shit advice, you get the franchise you deserve. And what Star Wars is right now is exactly pandering to these freaks. And guess what? To quote another non-diverse, non-inclusive story, you get what you fucking deserve. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.